Social justice analysis. Every nurse is a political advocate. This presentation is by Pamela Moore and Jerry Van Dyken. Beckemeyer and Butterfield argue that the American Nurses Association Code of Ethics is superficial and vague, but the new ANA Code of Ethics addresses social justice and political involvement of nurses well. The new code uses assertive language and states that every nurse can participate in some way advocating for policy and social justice. The exact way of how nurses are to do this is not defined, but we think this is a good thing. Lillian Wald and Mary Breckenridge could not have contributed to the healthcare in such a significant way without support from peers and other nurses taking care of clinics and patients. Nurses should use their individual skills and strengths to contribute to nursing in whatever way they feel that they exceed the most. This may be direct patient care, research, teaching, or active political involvement. Any career path contributes to social justice and policy change in healthcare. The important thing is that we as nurses all work together. When discussing nursing, it is difficult to separate out the terms of social justice and political advocacy. These terms all go together to create the basis of the nursing profession. Emancipatory knowledge in nursing is defined by Chin as, quote, the human capacity to be aware of and critically reflect on the social, cultural, and political status quo, and to figure out how and why it came to be that way, end quote. Chin continues by stating that emancipatory knowledge is the basis for all nursing learning, teaching, and practice. If this is true, every nurse, regardless of career choice, is aware of and works to understand political policy and change and how it came to be. This is how we learn as nurses. In the ANA Code of Ethics, they explain in their document the term patients refers to individuals as well as communities and populations. I feel that nurses who work in direct patient care do focus on the individual in front of them, but they cannot do this well without looking at the bigger picture. On the other side of things, those nurses working directly for social justice and policy may be working on the bigger picture of healthcare, but they are doing it for the health of individuals. For example, a nurse in direct care cannot help a patient by encouraging them to walk and exercise more in their neighborhood if it is unsafe. The first step would be to address the safety of the neighborhood. Each nurse thinks about these things each day they work. As nurses, we advocate for ourselves, our patients, and our communities to better health policy and general health awareness. I hope to be able to choose any nursing path I want while still advocating for patients and addressing any barriers to health they may have.
Ethics of Care by Pamela Moran. Ethics of Care is at the forefront of social justice and political advocacy, and the American Nurses Association Code of Ethics clearly addresses this in Provision 6 of the American Association of Nurses 2015. This provision states, quote, the nurse, through individual and collective effort, establishes, maintains, and improves the ethical environment of the work setting and conditions of employment that are conducive to safe, quality health care, end quote. This applies to any path a nurse chooses and in any setting. The ANA Code of Ethics goes on to say it is expected of nurses to have good morals, meaning beneficence, or to do good, and non-maleficence, or to do no harm. Both require caring. Tong identifies two types of caring: natural caring and ethical caring. Natural caring is what a person has when they are young, but it decreases when one's own interests begin to take hold. Tong explains that ethical caring comes into play in nursing on a daily basis and in all aspects of life. This is the, quote, I must care, end quote, attitude, which is not always spontaneous but planned. I do not agree this is true all of the time. I believe it varies with an individual's level of caring. The ANA Code of Ethics says nurses have an ethical obligation to patients, colleagues, families, and communities to maintain a professional practice environment that supports ethical caring, which in turn promotes social justice and political advocacy in any path a nurse chooses. Fortunately, nursing is ever expanding and advancing as a career choice. As nurses continue their path of patient care, research, education, or political change, the ANA Code of Ethics will guide them along their path. Beneficence, to do good, or non-maleficence, to do no harm, is based on ethics of caring, social justice, and political advocacy. Nurses working in collaboration with patients, families, communities, and colleagues are what brought nursing and the advancement of nursing where it is today.